So, good afternoon. So, let's have to discuss first yung sa ating statistics. So, we have two subjects for this sem, statistics and autocad drafting for industrial engineering. So, we'll start our class. So, let's speak hindi tayo nakapag-class. It's supposed to be our first meeting. However, due to circumstances, ano kasi siya nun. Anyway, so let's start our topic for the statistics. Ayun. So our first topic for statistics is the role of this. First is we need to introduce what is statistics, although during your high school, it is already been discussed. However, sa topic natin, we need to particularly know the role of statistics, especially for industrial engineering, how it can be applied sa ating mga future subjects, and as well as for our feasibility studies and courseworks and such. For a while. So for our first topic, we have the role of statistics. By the way, ang ating topic, ang ating subject will focus on the kung ano pa rin yung rule last sem. So, 6 meetings, 2 quizzes, 1 final examination. So, yan po ang ating grading system. So, ayun, no need for yung sa format natin, wala pa rin tayong face-to-face. So, ang next sem will be our time to discuss on a face-to-face basis. Anyway, our first topic is the role of statistics. So for the basic statistical procedure, descriptive statistics are brief descriptive coefficient that summarize the data set, which can be either a representation of the entire or the sample or a population. So yung sa descriptive statistics, usually doesn't entail to a conclusion. So kaya very descriptive siya, included in the descriptive statistics are the mean, yung mga ginagawa natin ating mga statistics before, yung mga simple mean, you get the average, you get the mode, which one's the frequent, the median, the center point of the data. You also have your variance, yung standard deviation, and such. So it's all just a descriptive. It defines the behavior of the data. Inferential statistics, on the other hand, unlike descriptive statistics, is the attempt to apply the conclusion that had been obtained from one experimental study to more population. This means inferential statistics tries to answer questions about population and a sample that had not been tested in the given experiment. Ang inferential naman, on the other hand, is more of interpreting what is the data or what is the content of the data, how is it flow, what would be the errors in the data. So more of a detailed compared to descriptive. Inferential statistics can be defined as the science of using probability to make decision. Let me think it. Can be defined as the science of using probability to make decision. For explaining how this is done, a quick review of the laws of chance is in order. So kasi kung kayo ay very familiar with probability is similar to statistics. So only probability rules will be discussed here. Those four: simple probability, the 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 probability of success, the probability of failure, the mutually exclusive events, the independent events, and the conditional probability. So we'll discuss this four probability rules. Okay. So in the game of chance, in an experiment, we are interested in the outcome of the random phenomenon that can be predicted with certainty because usually there is more than one outcome and each is subject to chance. So what we are looking here is on the positive basis, we need to know what is the probability of success. Usually, ginagawa natin to sa mga sports event like basketball, racing, like katulad yan, meron pang volleyball. So, you usually, dyan siya most applicable. And dyan yung madalas ginagamit, especially if we want to know gaano ba kalyamado. The term is the probability of success that yung sinusuportahan mong team will win. The random outcomes associated with games of chance should be equally likely to occur if the gambling device is fair, controlled by the chances alone. Thus, the probability of getting ahead on a single toss of fair coin and the probability of getting even number when we roll a fair die are both 1/2. So for this example, although we want to exclude the word gambling, in the fair of chance, yun talaga yung ating subject. So for example, if you want to toss a coin, what's the chances of getting a heads than a tail? So it's usually two. You have two chances or two outcomes, the head or the tails. So if you try to roll a dice, the chances of success of getting a head is syempre 1/2. Ganon din, what is the chances of getting a tail? So it's also 1/2. So to sum it up, the probability of success is the number of successful outcome over the total number of outcomes. So bakit naging 1/2? Kasi the number of successful outcomes, the number of chances you get ahead is 1. And the total number of outcomes is 2. That is head plus tail. So you have, so the probability of success is the number of successful outcome denoted by NS over the capital N or the total number of outcome. Madali ba yun? Yung, nakuha nyo ba yung, yung point ng 1/2? Nakuha nyo ba yung bakit 1/2 yung probability of success ng isang heads over a toss of coins? Yes. Okay. So, for example, what is the chance of getting 3 kapag nag-toss ka naman ng dice o ng dice yung pag ano, what is the chances of getting a 3 on a single toss? That is 1/6, right? So you get the point of how to get the probability of success. Okay, now we go to our rule for probability, the simple probability rule for equally likely outcome. So ito is nangyayari kapag chances of all the event is equal. So for example, there's a game often played at charity event that involves tossing a coin such as 25 cents. A quarter is tossed so that it bounces off the board into a chute to land in one 9-glass tumbler. Only one, which is red. If the coin lands in a red tumbler, the player wins $1. Otherwise, the coin is lost. So aside from probability of success, we want to know the odds for success. Yung probability of success ulit, ano yung chance mo na manalo over that event. Yung odds for success, gaano kadalas manalo. So, yun yung pagkakaiba ng dalawa. Yung probability, the chances, the odds for success is gaano kataas ang chance ang manalo. A simple example is provided by a spinner that comes with many board games. The spinner is an arrow that spins freely around an axle attached to the center of the circle. Suppose that the circle is divided into quadrant, mark 1, 2, 3, 4, and play on a board is determined by the quadrant in which a spinner comes to rest. If no skills is involved in spinning the arrow, the outcomes can be considered uniformly distributed over 360 of the circle. If the success to land in a third quadrant of the circle, a spin is success when the arrow stops anywhere in the 90 of the third one. So, parang hindi ko masabi yung pinaka game, but para ito yung mga nakikita natin sa casino. Pag nagpas siya halimbawa ng arrow, kailangan magpunta siya dun sa specific na spot for you to win a prize. Okay. So, if that is the case, ano ang ating add for success? Okay, wait. Ito pala, example. Okay. So, for example, the add for success here, if we try to look for this example, the add for success is, syempre, alamin muna natin na ang probability of success. The probability of success is defined as the number of outcomes over the total number of outcomes. So, kung ito is divided lang into 4 quadrants, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, then the probability of getting to the third quadrant is 1 over 4. So the probability of success is 0.25 or 1/4. So yan yung lalagay natin dito. 0.25 minus 1 minus 0.25. Therefore, what is the odds? The odds for success. Ano paki-compute? 1/3. 4 over 1/4 over 1 3/4. 1/3. So that is the odd of success. So for you to get chances mong manalo is 0.75. Okay. Okay. So then we move on to another rule, which is the addition rule for mutually exclusive event. Mutually exclusive meaning one event excludes the possibility of another. For instance, if the 2 dice are rolled and the event is the sum of the spots is 7, then y can possibly be another value as well. However, there are 6 ways to spot or pips on a 2 die can produce the sum of 7, and each of these is mutually exclusive of the other. To see how this is, imagine that the pair consists of 1 red die and 1 green die. Then we can detail all the possible outcomes for the event y is equals to 7. So for this example, meron daw tayong dalawang dice, the red one and the green. So the system or the procedure is for you to win, you must get a sum of 7. So for example, I try to spin or to toss a red die and I got 1. Then ang chances ko lang na para manalo ng 7 is for me to get a die of a value of 6. So para maging 7. As well as if gagamit ako ng 2, pag kailangan, ang susunod kong spin ng green die is 5. And so on. If is any k mutually exclusive events, E1, E2, up to EK, then the addition rule for the mutually exclusive event is P success is equals to the probability of the event 1 plus 2 plus 3 and so on. For this example, ang ating event is hanggang 7, hanggang 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, hanggang 6. This hold true with the dice. So E1 is the event that the red die shows 1 and the green die shows 6. Then PE1 is equals to 1 over 36. Bakit naging 1 over 36? So probability of success of getting 1 here. The probability of success of getting 1 here is 1 over 6. Then for you to get a 6 out of green die, that is 1 over 6. Then for the whole event, P equals to E1. The probability of getting both 1 for red die and green for 6 for green die is 1 over 36. Coming from the product of this one. 1 times 1 and 6 times 6, that is 1 over 36. Kaya siya naging 1 over 36. Then because of each of the 6 events has the same probability, therefore, okay. Therefore, ano ang ating P success? So that is 1 over 36 plus 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 1 over 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what does it stand? That is 6 over 36 or 1, 6. So that is your probability of success for a mutually exclusive. That is only applicable if ang ating each event is equal. Okay? Kuha ba yan?
Yes po.
Okay, sorry. Okay, now, for example, to see how this rule applies to each event that are not likely, suppose a coin of the rated gambling program is programmed to provide on random plays, winning with the following probabilities. So find the P success and the odds of winning. So, what is the P success? How do we get the P success? So, we must add all the events. U1, U2, U3, so let's plus E4. Sensya na, wala kasi akong 10. Okay, so the probability of winning 10 coins is 0.001 plus the probability of getting 5 coins is 0.01 plus the probability of getting 3 coins is 0.404 and the probability of getting 1 coin is 0.3 5, 9. Okay. Yeah. Let's just do 1 plus. So what is the answer?
0.41 po.
0.40. Now, ang tanong is, sagot niya, may nagsagot dito ng 1. So, if we try to sum all the events, ang equal niya is 1. Kasi if you try to total this one, all the winning is 0.41 plus 0.59 is 1. But ang hinahanap natin dito is the probability of success, which include this one. This one is called the probability of failure. Kasi talo to eh. You lose 1 coin. So hindi the probability of success, rather probability of failure. Okay? Nakuha ba yon? So kaya hindi natin sinama yung event ng lose kasi ito ay probability of failure. Okay? So all the winning event lang ang sinama. Now if you try to sum it all, ang sagot niya is 1. So kasi dapat ang probability natin for addition of rule for mutually exclusive events, all the event must be equal to 1. So kasama na doon ang probability of failure. Okay, now nakuha na natin yung probability of success, that is 0.41. Now what is the odds of success? So the odds of success is equals to the probability of success, P success, over 1 minus P success. So that is 0.41 over 1 minus 0.41. If we try to analyze this formula, we will know that the formula is equal to the probability of success over the probability of failure. Kasi 1 minus probability of success is equal to probability of failure. Kaya ito ay dapat pwede din na in the form of 0.41 over 0.59. Kasi yan naman yung probability of failure. So what is the answer? 0.69. Thank you. So that is the odds of success. If we try to analyze this one, mataas yung kanyang chance na manalo ka. Say 0.69. And the probability of success is not that low. Kasi halos, kung titingnan mo, 0.41 versus 0.59, halos equal lang sila ng probability of failure. Therefore, kung ikaw ay mag-a-analyze, kung ikaw ay talagang into this kind of chances, game of chance, then mas prefer ko to kasi although mataas pa rin ang probability of failure, well, hindi naman sila nagkakalayo ng probability of success. Okay? Question so far? Okay. Now we go on to the next rule. The next rule is the multiplication rule for independent events. So yung kanina, nag-a-add tayo ng mga probability of success. Now this one is for multiplication rule. When dealing with independent events for a while, Okay. So when dealing with independent events, we often need to find the joint probability that two or more of them will occur simultaneously. If the total number of possible outcome n is small, we can always compile tables. So with the n equals to 52 cards in the standard deck. You can classify each card by color red or black as to where or not it is an honor card. Honor card meaning ito yung parang mga officer natin. That is the ace, the king, the queen, or the jack. Then we can sort and count the cards in each four groups to get the following table. Probably i-group niya lang or classify niya lang yung a set of deck cards. We have the honor cards, yung ace, queen, jack, king, and then the color, the black, the red. Kapag hindi honor cards at kulay black siya, we only have 18. Tama ba 18 yan? Kasi 13 ang ating deck of cards minus the honor card would be 9. So, black cards is yung flower or yung clover, tsaka yung spade, so that is 2. So, 9 times 2 is 18. As well as the red, hearts and the diamond. So, kung honor card daw, so for honor card, we have 4. So, times 2 for the black, so we have 8. And then for red, we have 8 also. If a card is dealt at a number, at a random from such a deck, we can find the joint probability that will be red and an honor card, but by noting that there are 8 such cards in the deck. So, yun. If we try to analyze yung sinabi niya, what is the probability of success? Okay, the multiplication rule for finding the joint probability of k independent events. So yung event naman natin is defined as the multiplication or the product of each of the event. So gender and hard-handedness, this is an example, are independent, and if female 0.50 and the left-handed is 0.15, then the probability that the first child of the couple will be left-handed is. Okay. So for this example, for example, balik tayo dito sa may sa may So, balik tayo doon kanina. Okay. So, what is the probability that you will get a red and an honor card? Okay. So, what is the probability of success of getting a red card? What is the probability of success of getting a red card? It's 1/2. So, paano naging 1/2? That is 26 over 52. So that is 1/2. Now, what is the probability of getting an honor card? What is the probability of getting an honor card? Over 52 or 8 over 26, 4 over 13. Tama ba? 4 over 13. Tama ba? Pag sinimplify natin, 4 over 13, yung 16 over 52. Yes, okay. So, now, what is the probability of success that you get a red and an honor? So, simply multiply the event. So, that is 1/2 multiplied by 4 over 13, making it 4 over 26 or 2 over 30. So that would be our click tayo dito. Gender and handedness are independent if any female is 0.5 and the left-handed is 0.15, then the probability of getting a first child of the couple is a left-handed girl is you just simply multiply the event. So that is 1/2 or 0.5 multiplied by 0.15. 0.15. 0.5 times 0.50. Answer. 0.07. Okay. Do you have a question for this one? The rule is the rule must be you find the joint probability. Two of more of them will occur simultaneously. Yan po yung tatandaan natin ha. Dapat there's a chances that two or more probability will happen on the on an independent event. Okay. Okay. Now we have the third rule, the conditional probability rule. When told the person is from Sweden or some of other Nordic country, we might immediately assume that he or she has a blue eyes or conversely dark eyes if from a Mediterranean country. So it's more of geographically identification. So pag sinabi niya dito, inassume na kapag nasa mga northern part, sa mga European countries ka, probably the color of your eyes is blue. On the other hand, if you're more of near the equator, or you're more of a Mediterranean, for this example, black eyes ka naman daw. So you're probably getting black. In encounter with people from this area, we think we found that the probability of the eye color is not the same for both those geographic regions, but rather depends on its condition or the region from which a person comes. Conditional probability is symbolized as P(E)(2) cross E1, and we say the probability of event given event 1. So that's how you read it. The probability of event 2 given event 1. In the case of eye color, it would be the probability of the blue eyes given that is from a Nordic country. So conditional probability rule for finding the conditional probability of the event 2 given event 1 is ganyan din po. So probability E1 multiplied by E2 over the probability of E1. Okay. Suppose an oncologist is suspicious that a cancer of the gum may be associated with the smokeless tobacco. It would be ideal if he also had the data, the use of smokeless tobacco by those free of cancer, but the only data immediately available are from 100 of his own cancer patients. So it tabulates them to obtain the following. So, for example, if the cancer daw is evident at the gum, the number of cancer patients that never uses smokeless tobacco is 5. Kapag gumagamit daw ng smokeless tobacco is 20. Elsewhere, may cancer pa rin siya, but other part of the body, except the gums. So, yung gumagamit daw ng smokeless tobacco, is 15, yung hindi naman is 60. So the total is 65 cancer patient that never uses smokeless tobacco, and the other is 35, making it 100. So there are 25 cases of gum cancer in his database, and 20 of those had used smoking tobacco. So we see that his best estimate of the probability that a random drawn gum cancer patient was a user of smokeless tobacco is 20 over 25 or 0.8. This probability could be found by the conditional probability rule. If the probability of of a cancer that is evident in the gum is equals to PG and P user equal to P. Then, yan. So P-gum, kasi ito ang kailangan natin patunayan. Kailangan na yung cancer daw of the gums, cancer of the gum is associated to smokeless tobacco. So per conditional ruling, we have P of the event of the gum and user of smokeless tobacco yan over P gum lang. Tama ba? P gum. So the probability of cancer in the gum is 25. So 25 over 100 or 0.75 multiply by the P user. P user, that is 35. So 35 over 100 over 25 over. So setting all the 100, so you have 25 over 25, 0.25. Okay, multiply nga, 25 over 35 over 25. 25, yeah. Five 35, so 25 over 25, so that is 0.75. Okay. Awesome. So for statistical inferences, sabi ko nga kanina, what makes the inferential statistics different from descriptive statistics is we can make conclusion out of the given answer for the inferential stats. The basic process in inferential statistics is to assign probabilities so that we can reach conclusion. The inferences we make are either decision or estimates about the population. The tool for making inferences is probability. So ang ginagawa kasi natin dito, for example, this one, we get a sample from a population. After we get a sample, we try to create an analysis. Those analysis is an inference using probability. Once we get the answer, we try to interpret yan, mga result na yan, on a larger population. So, ang nangyayari is, kumukurot lang tayo ng portion from a population. And from that ini-interpret natin yon, bakit tayo kumukuha ng sample lang? But hindi buong population para mas accurate? Why do we need to get only a sample from a population? Ano kaya yung reason? Bakit hindi buo ang i-try natin i-analyze? No? Bakit kaya hindi buong population ng iba ang natin statistics? Bakit kailangan by sample lang? Anyways. Yes, already no.
Sir, I think po, mas okay i-study yung sample po kaysa po sa whole population kasi po it is much quicker process and mas efficient po, mas time efficient.
That's correct. Actually, dagdagan ko lang, mas madaling kumuha or mas madaling interpret ang sample kasi it is more of comprehensive yung data mo. At the same time, mas madali siyang i-process kasi konti lang yung data sets. For example, sa mga mabababang population, let's say 100 lang, walang problema kasi 100 lang ano mo. But paano kung ang sample mo, let's say, is the whole population of the Philippines? 103 million something. 103 million. So, paano mo i-interpret yon? So, kung that, kumukuha lang tayo ng... Kaya nga, di ba, pag mga tayo ay kumukuha ng survey ng mga presidentiables natin, kung gaano ba sila most likely manalo for position, ginagawa ng sa atin is yung Nielsen survey. Kumukuha na sila halimbawa ng 1,000 tao. Tatanong nila yun. And from that, nakakagawa na sila ng position. For 1,000 people, from 1,000 people, halimbawa lang, si Mayor ganito, the election is Mayor ganyan ang so yun. And less cost and more efficient. So, yun, that's how yung usually yung mga analysis natin works. Well, ngayon na lang siguro yung nakita ko na kapag halimbawa nag-conduct sila ng survey, naglalagay sila ng percentage error. Kasi hindi naman din talaga 100% accurate yung sa mga survey. So, halimbawa, naglabas sila ng senatorial, halimbawa si Rafi Tulfo, most likely to win. Kasi nag-survey sila, ganyan, with a plus minus 5% error. So, yun. So, nila na, nakakapag-conclude sila na most likely si ganito. Sorry. We also did that, interpret natin ang sample to make a decision. So, for example, a sociologist has two sets of cards, A and B, containing data for her research. The set each consists of 1,000 cards. Set A concerns a group of people, half of whom are women. In set B, 80% of the cards are women. The two files look alike. Unfortunately, the sociologist loses track of which is A and B. He does not want to sort and count the cards, so decided to use probability to identify the sets. The sociologist selects a set, and she draws a card at random from a selected set, notes whether or not it concerns a woman, places the card, and will repeat this procedure 10 times. She finds that all the cards contain data about women. She must now decide when between two possible conclusions. So, this is set B. Number one, ibig sabihin nito, doon sa pinili niya 10 cards that contain all about women, kung decide mo siya if this is the set B. Yung set B concerns about 80% of the women. And then kung set A, it is a likely sample of cards. This is set A, it's a likely sample of cards. In order to decide in favor of this conclusion, she computes the probability of playing cards of all females. So yung probability of getting 10 females is the first is female, the second is female, up to the 10 is female. Oh. So ano ibig sabihin nito? So what's the probability of getting 10 cards which pertains to women? So kasi kung i-represent natin yan sa 10,000 cards, so each of which yung isang card represents 1,000 cards. So ibig sabihin, for you to get 100% of all the data that you pick, cards that pertains to women, then therefore, it's most likely na ano yung magiging ano niya, saan mas favorable yung set, sa set A or sa set B? Kung halimbawa 10 data na pili ko ay para lahat ay contains about women, ano ang most likely set na, set A or set B? Ano? Set A or set B? Set B. Kasi yung set B is most likely 80% about it. Yung isa naman, 50%. Okay? So, sinabi niya, ito ay set B. Kung ito man ay set A, it's a likely sample of cards has been chosen. So, meron pa rin siyang reservation kasi alam niya nga na 50% of those cards are not concerned about it. Okay. So a trial mailing is made to advertise a new science dictionary. Dali lang as it's made to advertise a new science dictionary. The trial mailing list is made up of random sample of current mailing lists of several popular magazines. The number of advertisement mailed and the number of people who ordered the dictionary is as follows. So, yung nag-mail, the magazine A, ang nag-mail ay 100 and nag-mail. Sa step B naman, 810, 50. Let's see, 110, 10, 30, 50, and 45. Estimate the probability and odds of success that the subscriber to each of the magazine will buy dictionary. Paano yun? Probability of success for A is equals to probability of getting an ordered out of the mail. So 900. Ano ang probability of success natin? For A, ano ang probability? 1 over A. Now, what is the odds of success? 0.02. Odds of success is equals to P success 0.02 over 1 minus 0.02. What is the probability of success? Or the odds of success rather? Point 0.15. Tama nga, pares pa kayo sa sagot. So that is only for magazine A. B, C, D, E. So for you, it's for you to practice that. So basta ganun lang yung practice. Okay. Letter B, make a decision about mailing list that will probably produce the highest percentage of sales if the entire list is. So from there, makakapag-conclude kayo which one of the magazines are most likely to produce a higher success of getting an order. So, kung titingnan mo dito, most likely ako ay leaning towards, ito naman ay wala akong computation. Sinabi ko lang, I'm leaning towards 950.45. As well as dito, kasi ito yung mabababa. Ito yung mababa. But at the same time, yung order niya. Right? So, check nyo na lang. Kung alin diyang magazine ang pinaka the best. Okay? Okay. So we have the scientific way of drawing or formulating or creating a decision. We call it the scientific. So the natural, physical, and social scientists who use statistical methods to reach conclusion all approach their problem are the same general procedure as scientific. So the steps involved in the scientific method are number one, statement of the problem, the formulate the hypothesis, design the experiment or survey, make observation, interpret the data, and draw a conclusion. So it revolves all of these procedures. Statement of the problem, creating problem formulation must be cleared with writing, put the statement in writing. All of these six steps. Ito din yung ginagamit natin kapag tayo gumagawa ng thesis, feasibility study, coursework. So for statement of the problem, state the problem formulation must be clear and writing. So put the statement in writing. The consequence in vagueness, focus, that make it almost impossible to proceed. So problema kapag na-identify natin na gap or the problem is too large, then it lack of focus. It leads to the collection of necessary information or failure to collect essential information. Sometimes the original question is even lost as the researcher gets involved in the details of the experiment. Formulate the hypothesis. For the hypothesis, for us to create a conclusion, we need first to The hypothesis in this step is experimental hypothesis. The expected outcome if the present experimental's speculations is true. The experimental hypothesis must be stated in a precise way so that the experiment can be carried out that will lead to a decision about the hypothesis. A good experimental hypothesis is comprehensive enough to explain the phenomenon and predict a known fact, and yet is stated in simple way. Actually, the hypothesis is based on the statement of the problem. Although the null hypothesis is not used in formal way until the data are being interpreted, it is appropriate to formulate a hypothesis at the time in order to verify that the experimental hypothesis is stated in such a way that it can be tested by statistical technique. Yung null hypothesis is based on the statement of the problem, which ginagawa natin, kaya tayo nag-state ng hypothesis for us to determine if yung ba ay i-accept natin or reject natin. Ang null hypothesis kasi will be the basis. Now, if your result is leaning towards the null hypothesis, then we accept it. Meaning, yung statistic natin is more favored on the statement of the null hypothesis. However, if the statistics natin is leaning towards, or sorry, it portrays beyond the null hypothesis, then ina-reject natin na. Several experimental hypotheses may be converted with a single problem. Once these hypotheses are formulated in a satisfactory way, the investigator should do a literature search to see whether the problem is already been solved. Whether or not there is hope of solving it, whether or not the answer will make it a worldwide constitution. So, kailangan pa rin natin mag-literature search to back up or to prove that the problem that you identified is novel, o kaya the problem that you identify is already defined. The final experiment or survey, once you have your null hypothesis, pag meron ka ng parang pagbabasehan mo kung ipapasa mo ba or ibabasa mo isang problem or you already solved the gap, you design the experiment with the survey. Hindi pa rin naman. Teka. Alisin natin. Okay, yeah, how about this one? Okay na ba?
Mas okay na po, sir.
Okay, sige.
Medyo nagfe-fade po kasi kanina.
Kasi ito yung sa headphone yung gamit ko speaker. So, ginamit ko na yung sa laptop. Ay, microphone rather. So, okay. So, included in these steps are several decisions. What are the treatment or conditions should be placed on the object or subject of the investigation in order to test the hypothesis? What are the variables of interest? That is, what are the variables should be measured? How will this be done? With how much precision? Each of the decision is complex and requires experience and insights into a particular area of investigation. So another group of decision involves the choice of the sample, the portion of the population of interest that will be used in the study. The investigator usually tries to utilize samples that are random, representative, and sufficiently large. So yun yung ating kinakonsider. Dapat it must be random dahil kung hindi siya random, then yung kinukuha mo sample will be biased. So for example, yun nga, sa survey ng mga politician, halimbawa sa presidential votes, yung 1,000 mong kinuhanan mo na sagot kung sino ang preferred nilang presidential votes, is halimbawa, ako magbanggit ng ng name So, halimbawa, maka-presidential A, ganon. Presidential X. Then, kung yung kinuha mong sa 1,000 tao is leaning towards presidential A, then, ibig sabihin, ang makukuha mong survey or the result of your survey is most likely leaning towards presidential A. So, kaya lumalabas, bias yung ano mo, yung magiging survey mo, yung result ng survey mo. Kasi, lahat yon naka-presidential A. So, wala tayong, hindi magiging, ang effect nun is hindi magiging reliable yung survey. Medyo, ano siya, diluted yung result mo. Kasi, may pinaburan ka doon sa survey, yun ang lumalabas. Kaya dapat, kung kayo ay kukuha ng sample, must be random. Scientifically or scientifically pick na talagang random ang iyong sample. Okay? Representative, ibig sabihin, although it's more leaning towards non-random pa rin, pero at least you get who are the most appropriate for your survey. I'm speaking of a survey lang kasi yun yung pinakamabilis. So for example, nag-survey ka ng 1,000 tao pa rin, pero hindi naman pala sila botante. So, non-representative yun. So, dapat yung kukunin mo is representative of the voters. So, yun. Random. Must be random. Walang, para maiwasan natin ang bias. Then, number 2 is representative, meaning you get the ones who are most likely into that particular survey. And letter C is sufficiently large. Okay? Kasi kung medyo sobrang liit naman ang sample mo, medyo mataas ang kanya magiging error. Yun naman yung nagiging problema. Kapag sobrang liit na sample mo, ang error mo naman ay mataas. Okay? So I hope you get the design of the experiment of survey and how should we pick our sample. And then after that, you analyze and make observation. Once the procedure for the investigation has been decided, the researcher must see that it's carried out in a rigorous manner. The study should be free from all errors except random measurement errors, that is slight variation that is due to the limitation of the measuring instrument. Again, hindi ka po makakakuha ng perfect survey na walang error. Always may nag-a-appear na error. Kasi that's the purpose of your of what you're doing of getting a sample. You're just getting a portion of a whole population. And it's not even the whole population itself. So that's why meron pa rin talaga lumalabas na error. Care should be taken to avoid bias. Bias is a tendency form of a measurement on a variable to be affected by an external factor. For example, bias could occur from an instrument out of calibration, an interviewer who influences the answer of a respondent, or a judge who sees the score given by the other judge. Equipment should not be changed in the middle of an experiment, and the judge should not be changed halfway through an evaluation. The data should be examined for unusual values, outliers, which do not seems to be consistent with the rest of the observation. Pag sinabi natin kasing unusual values or outliers, ito yung, kung mapapansin mo, bakit si result ng ganito is sobrang layo niya dun sa ibang data? We call it outliers. So, usually, hindi mo maiiwasan din itong mga outliers. Kaya, we take in consideration of it, hindi lang natin siya basta tinatanggal sa data. Kasi kailangan isipin natin bakit nagkaroon ng outliers in the first place. So, each outlier should be checked to see whether or not it's due to a recording error. If it is an error, it should be corrected. If it cannot be corrected, it should be discarded. If an outlier is not an error, it should not be given special attention when the data is analyzed. So yun, consider pa rin natin if should be neglected. Kasi
may effect yan sa data. So kung medyo ano lang naman siya, talagang it's more of non-represented value, then pwede mo na siyang tanggalin yung outlier na yun. It should be also emphasized dito na hindi dapat tayo nagbibigay ng attention sa outliers. Kasi we should seek from the data out of the whole sample, not just the outlier. Okay? Interpret the data once you get the once you make an observation, you interpret the data. It's most likely dito na papasok ang inferential statistics. You find the probability of the ganyan-ganyan, then compare to the alpha value or the significant level of significance. What would be your interpretation? So ganun. So we'll focus on that, pero sa mga succeeding topics na I won't elaborate much of this, the interpret data. Okay, but the sequence in the second procedure is assume that yung H sub O na yan is the null hypothesis. So assume the null hypothesis is true and determine the probability that the experimental outcome or a more outcome would occur. One would occur. Compare the probability to a present rejection level that symbolizes by alpha. Ito yung significance level na tinatawag. So if the probability is less than or equal to the significance level, then reject the hypothesis. If less than, if the p-value, the probability value is greater than the significance level, then accept the null hypothesis. So we say that if it is greater than the significance value, then we accept the null hypothesis. Some statisticians prepare not to use the expression since we are in the absence of evidence to reject the null hypothesis. They choose to simply withhold judgment about it. They would say the null hypothesis may be true, or there is no evidence that the null hypothesis is false. If the probability associated with the null hypothesis is very close to the significance value, a more extensive testing may be desired. So you're just, kumbaga, parang you're not stopping from interpreting the null hypothesis with the significance level, kasi you should always see if it is enough. You should always give the benefit of the doubt and conduct more of a testing and analysis if possible for you to interpret if you're going to accept or reject the null hypothesis. Okay. A manufacturer of baby food gives sample of 2 baby cereal A and B to a random sample of mother 4. Type A is a manufacturer's brand, type B is a competitor's. The mother are asked to report which type they prefer. The manufacturer wants to detect any preferences for their cereals if it exists. Okay, so the null hypothesis or the hypothesis of no difference is H sub O. So isipin mo lang pinagkaiba si A and B. So that is the probability is 1/2, in which the pi is the proportion of mothers in general population who prepare type A. The experimental hypothesis, which often correspond to the second statistical hypothesis, is called the alternative hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis contradicts the null hypothesis. So yun. So kung halimbawa, ang null hypothesis mo is 1/2, ang alternative hypothesis mo is not 1/2. So this one is not 1/2. So not equal to 1/2. Okay? Sorry. So yun. So if yung sabi niya dito, if the probability is less than significant value, we reject the null hypothesis. So kung mababa sa 0.05 halimbawa sa significance value, then we reject the null hypothesis. Hindi natin masasabi na equal sila ng or mas preferred ni ng mga mothers. Wala pinagkakaiba. Walang pinagkaiba sa preference ng mother for type A and B cereals. Okay? Then last, we draw the conclusion. If the procedure just outlined is followed, then our decision will be based solely on the probability and will consistent with the data from the experiment. Ang pinagkaiba nito sa interpret the data, ang draw conclusion is magkakaroon ka na ng conclusion or magbibigay ka na ng more realistic conclusion based sa pagkaka-interpret mo ng data. So for example, I reject the null hypothesis na mas mabilis lumaki ang halaman kapag naarawan. So parang gano'n. So that is your conclusion. So mas maigi sa halaman ang may araw kaysa sa wala. So parang gano'n. Okay, so this one, I will leave it here. So for you to check or how do you solve this problem. Okay? So siguro pag-practicean nyo na lang. We'll try to answer it on the next meeting. Okay? Question?
Okay naman po.
Okay, sige. Ano naman ang ating gagawin? So for next week, wala muna tayong klase, May 6. Okay, May 30, meron. So next week, wala tayong klase for the second, for the statistics and AutoCAD. So may question ba tayo sa statistics? Okay, wala na. Then, we'll proceed to our next subject. Okay? Which is the AutoCAD drafting, computer-aided drafting. So, for this subject, it is a practical subject or application subject. So, meaning I needed an output. So, I'm on a petition to conduct sana 1 to 2 classes of face-to-face. However, it is on the decision of our campus director, and I need to this is lang. Okay, sorry. So, ayun. So, we have, yun nga. So, going back to the face-to-face discussion, nakikipag-usap pa kay Ma'am Marge about having, kasi mahirap talaga magturo ng AutoCAD online. And I prove it siguro mga 4 sems na talagang hirap ang mga bata. Okay, anyway. We'll try to get to that and source the best way we can if hindi man siya ma-approve. Okay, so we're using AutoCAD developed by Autodesk as our software for the whole semester. I'm using 2018. Okay, so I'm using a 2018 version. So if tayo ay gagamit din ng AutoCAD software, I suggest you source out at least 2009 version pataas. Okay? 2009 version pataas. At least we still have the same common software that we can use for 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional drawings. By the way, we try to cover up 2D drawings up to its application until isometric, floor plan, dimensioning, scaling, and then for the 3D, we cover up the basics. So it is an output-based subject, so we need your to gauge your output on a approximately 10 plates and 1 final examination. So yun. So approximately 10 plates. So pwedeng mas less pa doon. Pwedeng mas less lang doon yung ating. Okay. So I'm using a 2018 version. So sabi ko nga, pwede kayong gumamit ng 2019 pataas. Sa ngayon, meron na yatang 2023 na version. Okay. So what's the difference? Actually, wala. In terms of using the AutoCAD. Kasi what I am going to teach you is the way of an efficient way of creating drawings. So 2009 man yan or 2023, wala tayo magiging problema kasi ang ituturo sa inyo is the efficient way of creating drawings. So we're not relying on the ribbon. So yung ribbon kasi itong nasa taas. Ayan. Ayan. Lagay tayo ng this one is the ribbon. Yan. So, hindi tayo magre-rely dyan kasi lahat ng ating mga drawings are all hindi tayo magre-rely dito kasi every time na nagbabago yung version ng AutoCAD, nagbabago din tong ribbon. So, we're using the command line instead, this one. We call it the command line. Ito, ang tawag natin dito is the model view. Dito tayo gumagawa ng drawing. This one is the command line. Dito tayo naglalagay ng mga commands. And this one is the function keys. And for this one, the other view is the layout view. Ito naman yung layout. So, balik tayo sa model. Okay? So, pag tayo ay nagdo-drawing ng AutoCAD, pag tayo gumagawa ng AutoCAD, we uses 2 hands. The right one, or sorry, the left uses this on the keyboard. Pag tayo ay nagtatype, dedicated siya para sa keyboard ng ating computer. The right one is for the mouse. So, hindi pwede yung both hands mo is nasa keyboard. So, dapat yung isa is nasa mouse at yung isa is nasa keyboard. Okay? So, yun lang yung ating gagamitin. For the keyboard, sa left niya, left is ginagamit natin pang click. The right one, hindi natin masyadong ginagamit. Pero may purpose din siya. Okay, this one, yung trackball, pag binababa natin at inaangat, that is for the zoom. If you want to zoom out our drawing, we use this one. Kapag click natin siya, yung trackball, that is pan o pang-move ng drawing. So, let me just show you ano yung purpose ng trackball kapag shit. Kapag ginagamit ko yung ating mouse, pag inaangat ko siya, nakikita niyo nangyayari sa drawing, nagzo-zoom in, nagzo-zoom out. Nakuha niya? Kita niya? Nakuha ba? Then, kapag pinindot naman natin yung trackball, siya naman ay gagalaw. We call it pan. P-A-N. Yan. So, that is the purpose of yung sa trackball na part. Okay? Then, we'll start. Sabi ko kanina, ang ating left hand is for the keyboards. So, kaya ang ginagamit natin is yung left hand for keyboard because we want to draw drawings based on the ang tawag dito, shortcut commands. So, hindi tayo magre-rely dito. Yung pag mag-drawing tayo ng line, wala tayo, click natin tong ribbon. Kasi every time na magbago kayo ng version, naiiba ang itsura niya. Okay, so ulit. Wait lang. Okay. So we have several commands. AutoCAD, we call it the AutoCAD shortcut commands. And we have different sets. Yan. Yan. Okay. Paano ba mawawala itong mga to? Kakurahin ko lang ha. And these are segregated into different types of command. Okay? So, ayun. So we have the drawing command first. That's the name drawing command. Drawing. Mouse. Yeah. So drawing commands are used to draw objects. So we have the arc, the block, the boundary, the circle, the donut, text divide, ellipse, fillet, group, hatch, line, leader, multi-line, offset, polyline, point, polygon, ray, rectangle, region, rev cloud, spline, mtext, wipeout, and x-line or construction line. Hindi natin siya masyadong i-discuss lahat. So what is only important in this drawing commands, okay? So, balik tayo sa ating AutoCAD. So we start with the line, the most basic one. Na tayo mag-start sa basic and followed by arc. See circle. We always donut. Okay, so nakikita niyo ba yung tinype ko?
Yes po.
Yes po, sir.
So these are all the relevant drawing commands. Meron ba ako na-miss out? Siguro. So yan muna yung ating didiscuss. So we have the line. So pag nagdo-drawing tayo, we first type the shortcut command L. For example, makikita niyo yan dito sa baba sa command line kung ano tinype nyo. L and then space or enter. Pero kaya ang ginagamit nating space kasi ito yung mas malapit sa ating thumb, yung space. So yung pag nag-type tayo ng command L, then space, serves as the enter. Then mababasa niyo sa baba, specify the first point. Click lang kayo ng first point and then second point. So that's how you draw a line. Kapag precision line, meaning meron kayong distance na nilalagay, then mag-type lang kayo L space, then click for the first point. Then for example, you want to draw a line that is 10 units. So maglagay lang kayo ng 10. Then space, then that is 10. Ito lang pala siya kaliit. Okay. You won't believe me na 10. Diba? So check natin kung 10 talaga ang kanyang value. And sabi niya, 10. Okay? So, 2 points lang lagi yon. First point and then the second point. Kung precision, you click first the first point and then type in the size of the line. So, kung 100, you type in 100. Okay? Question? Sa line, sobrang bilis lang kasi yun, ganun lang naman talaga ang paggawa ng line. Okay, the next one is arc. Arc is based on a 3-point naman. So, ang shortcut command niya is A, and then space, then 3-point to. The first point, the second point, which is the bending point, and the end point. So, 3 point lang ang ginagamit natin. Ulit, A, space, first point, the bending point, and the end point. So, ganun lang ang pag-drawing ng arc. Sir, meron po ba precision for arc? Wala po. So, ibig sabihin kasi ng precision, naglalagay ka ng dimension. For example, 10 units. Ganun. Sa AutoCAD, wala tayo. Ganun. For arc, ha? Sa arc, hindi pwedeng maglagay ng distance. Okay, the next one is yung circle. Circle is, ang shortcut command niya is C. Ang default ni circle starts with the radius lagi. So, pag yung first point niya is the center, then pag in-extract siya palabas, then yun na yung nakabase siya sa radius. So, for example, gusto ko ng precision na circle at gusto ko ang radius niya is 5, you type in 5. So, yan. So, meron ka ng circle na 5. So, tingnan natin kung radius of 5 yan. So, that is radius of 5. Now, paano naman kung i-drawing mo yung circle in terms of radius? So, C, space, specify the center point of circle C. Then, magtatanong siya sa baba. Specify radius of circle. Kung radius ang measurement mo, wala problema. Rekta na yun kasi yun yung default niya. Pero kung gusto ko in terms of diameter, then lagay ko ay D. Makikita niyo sa baba kung bakit D, siya yung naka-highlight sa diameter. So, siya yung shortcut command. Space. Then, let's say, ang lagay ko is diameter 10. Ano kaya magiging itsura niya? Let's say 10 ang ilagay kong diameter. Ano kaya magiging itsura ng circle? Mas malaki dito sa unang circle o mas maliit? Ito ay kanina ay radius 5. So kung ito ay diameter 10, ano kaya magiging itsura niya? Compare dito sa radius 5.
Same lang po.
Same lang ang size, right? Okay? Kasi yan, in terms of radius, ay 5 pa rin. Pero in terms of diameter, that is diameter 10. Okay? Next is yung donut. So donut, ang itsura niya is yung may butas. Hindi yung Bavarian na type ng donut. Yung may butas, yung normal na donut. Okay? Okay, so ang donut, meron siyang inside diameter, meron siyang outside diameter. So pag nag-drawing tayo ng donut, shortcut command niya is the DO or donut. So DO space, ang first nating ini-indicate is the inside diameter of the donut. Ano ba ang kanya magiging inside diameter? For example, ang nilagay ko dito is 10. Outside diameter, base sa ating definition, must be bigger than the inside diameter. So let's say lagay ko is 15. Then, ang itsura niya is something like this. So pag clinic ko yan, makikita nyo na ang itsura niya is more likely a donut but with filled. Kumbaga parang meron siyang shaded na part. Okay? Now, what if ang donut ako, tapos ang inside diameter ko is 0. Tapos ang outside diameter ko is 10. Ano kaya itsura ng ating donut? Ano kaya itsura ng donut natin? Filled circle. Yes. Okay, space. So, shaded na circle. Okay, what if ang donut natin is 10, ang size ng inside, 10 din ang size ng outside. Ano kaya magiging itsura nito?
Circle lang sir.
Circle lang ang itsura niya. Hindi siya filled. Okay? Or hindi siya shaded na circle. Okay, what if ang donut ko is 15 in size, then ang outside diameter ko is 10. So, ibig sabihin, mas malaki ang inside ko kaysa sa outside. Ano kaya magiging itsura ng donut? Ano kaya magiging itsura nun? Mas malaki ang inside sa outside. Anyone? Ano kaya magiging itsura? Okay, so may nagsabi na same lang sa una. Yes. Parehas lang. Pero, sa mga, ito is 2018. Sa mga lower version, hindi nila tinatanggap. Nagkakaroon ng error kapag mas malaki ang inside sa outside. Kasi hindi nga pwede yan. But, nangyayari sa mga newest version, kinoconsider niya na yung mas malaki ang size ng inside will become the outside diameter. So, nako-consider niya na yun. Okay, so you understand how donut works. Now, we'll proceed with ellipse. Ang ellipse is parang oblong na shape. If you are familiar with analytical geometry. Yeah. Analytical geometry, meron doon yung ellipse, yung parang oblong ang size. So that is how what ellipse looks like. Okay? So EL ang kanyang shortcut command, and then space. Then you first draw the line. And then the radius ng ellipse. So ganyan mag-drawing ng ellipse. If you're leaning towards yung patayo na ellipse, so mag-draw ka ng line, then pag ganyan. So pwede din dito ang precision if you want to input a value. For example, naglagay ako ng line dito na, let's say 10. Then yung paangat ko, let's say nilagay ko is 5. Ano kaya itsura ng ellipse natin? Then yung line, then yung paangat niya is 5 from the center. Ano kaya magiging itsura ng ellipse? Anyone? Ano kaya itsura nun? Wala. Okay. So pag 5 ang in-input ko, it becomes a circle. Why? Kasi, tingnan nyo yung drawing ng ellipse. Magdodrawing ka muna ng line, which is 10. Then from the center, iaangat mo siya ng 5. Then it becomes circle. Okay? So pwede ka mag-drawing ng circle out of ellipse command. Yun lang naman yung ibig sabihin na. Okay, now you're probably wondering why merong mga gantong yung shade sa mga drawing minsan like sa donut. So anong command ba yon? We call it hatch. This one, H. So H space, then pwede kang maglagay ng shade out of a closed object. So close ibig sabihin wala siyang leak. So for example, this one, pwede yan. Ito. Now, meron tayong tatlong klase ng pattern for hatch. So we have the solid. Ibig sabihin, isang kulay, solid siya. So let's say, baguhin ko yung kulay. Gawin ko siya red. Okay. Then, sorry. Yung, pwede naman pattern. Pwedeng pattern, let's say, maghanap ka ng mga pattern dyan, like to tiles, this one, yan, concrete, or pwede ding gradient, or ibig sabihin combination of two colors. So, diba, yan, green, and yan. Pag okay ka na, then press space. Then kung gusto mo ulit ng hatch ulit, then H space. Pwede ka ulit magbago. Okay? So far, question. May question ba tayo so far? Question? Meron ba? Wala. Sorry. Meron sa chat pa. Okay, sorry. Sige, pwede naman natin, gagawin ko naman dito is, re-record natin to, tapos ipopost natin for you to review all the commands. Okay? Next is, we have the multi-line. Multi-line is, shortcut command dyan is ML. So, multi-line is a parallel line. So, yung kanina, isang line lang. Ang multi-line is parallel lines. So, ML ang command, ML space, then click mo yung first point and then second point. So, ganyan ang itsura ng multi-line. Now, sir, pwede po bang lakihan yung space between first and two lines? First line and second line? Yes. Paano? ML space, then may kita niyo sa baba, meron dyan justification, scale, and style. So we go for scale. Ang shortcut command niya is S. And then, ang default niya is 1 ang distance. So for you to adjust the size of the parallel line, pwede mo siyang taasan or bababa dun sa 1. So first, for example, I want it 6. So pag nag-drawing ako ng line, mas makapal na siya kumpara dun sa kaninang 1 lang. So sa scale natin binaba yan. Okay, pagtapos natin space. Then yung next one is yung polygon. So polygon is meron lang siyang number of sides, so yung end sides. Kapag triangle, okay. Yung dimension, we have a separate topic for that, yung sa dimensioning. So pinapakita ko lang yan just to prove you na yung ating mga drawings ay on a precision scale. But, saan na ba tayo? So, polygon, no? So, yung polygon is number of sides starting from 3 sides. Yung 3, for 3, we have the triangle. For 4, we have the parallelogram. 5 is pentagon, hexagon, and so on. Ano ang limit niya? Ang kaya lang ni AutoCAD na i-drawing na polygon is from 3 sides to 1024 sides. Hanggang dun lang yung kaya niya. 1025 sides, hindi niya na i-allow na i-drawing mo. So, ang polygon din actually is a equal sides. So, kung ikaw ay mag-drawing ng triangle, it's most likely to be a equilateral triangle. Kung 4 sides ka, that would be a square. Kung pentagon, walang problema. Equal lang yung both sides niya. Hexagon, so on. So, POL ang kanyang shortcut command. Then, enter the number of sides. Pwedeng, ang default dito is 4, but you can do more than or less than 4, yun nga, 3, pwede yung 3, up to 1024. So, try natin mag-type ng 1025. Mag-i-error siya. Sabi niya, requires an integer between 3 and 1024 only. Okay? So, let's say, ang type ko is 3, triangle. So, mag-i-specify siya ng center ng polygon. And then meron siyang option, inscribe and circumscribe. So let's say gusto ko inscribe lang. So lahat ng ito-drawing mo is equilateral triangle kasi nakabase siya sa circle. Okay? To further explain the polygon, let me show you two circles of the same size. Okay, so polygons, POL space, then let's say I want this time a pentagon. So 5. Enter the specify of the circle, let's say this circle. Click ko. Then, Dito, ang pipindutin ko muna, inscribe in a circle. Okay, so inscribe. I space, then, sorry, hindi ko pala, sorry. Balik tayo dito. Gadahin ko muna. Drawing ako ng circle na radius ay 10. Okay, copy ko. Then, polygon. POL space, click the center of the circle. Or sorry, 5. Click the center of the circle. I want it inscribed. And then, ang radius ko ay 10. Gagayahin ko lang yung radius nitong circle, ha? Then, magdodrawing ako ulit ng polygon. Then, click ko yung number of sides, 5, then center. This time, ang gagamitin ko is circumscribe. So, C. Then, ang radius is the same as the radius of the circle, 5. Now, ano pinagkaiba ng inscribe sa circumscribe? Sa tingin nyo, same radius ang ginamit natin, but nagkaiba sila ng itsura. So, why? Ano ba ang inscribe? Ano ba ang circumscribe? Anyone? Ano yung inscribe? Yes, Reginald.
Sir, tingin ko po yung inscribe po is parang dinrawing lang po siya inside ng shape po, yung circle po. And yung circumscribe po yung parang sa outside naman po siya dinrawing po.
Okay, so tama naman. So yung inscribe in a circle, ibig sabihin, dinrawing siya sa loob, sa edges ng circle, inside the edges of the circle. Yung circumscribe is dinrawing siya outside the edges of the circles. Kaya kung mapapansin mo, if you try to delete the circle, ang circumscribe is mukhang mas malaki or mas malaki talaga kumpara sa inscribe kasi si circumscribe is plinat siya on the edge of the circle. Okay? Now, what would be the figure if I try to maximize the number of sides of a polygon? Let's say 1024 yung kaya niya. 1024 sides ang gamitin ko. Ano kaya magiging itsura ng circle ay ng polygon? Ano kaya magiging itsura ng polygon? So yan, na-drawing ko na. So it's more of most likely to be compared to a circle. Kasi di ba, as per definition of a circle, ang circle daw is a polygon with infinite number of sides. So kaya yung polygon natin ay most likely appears to be a circle kapag marami na ang sides. Okay? Now, yung next one is yung rectangle. A rectangle is kung ikaw ay magdodrawing ng rectangle using polygon, anong nangyari? You draw a square lang. Pero kung gusto mo talaga mag-drawing ng rectangle na magkaiba ang dimension ng length sa width, then rectangle lang command na gagamitin mo. Shortcut command is REC, then space. Then pwede ka na mag-draw. First point, and then second point. So REC, first point, and then second point. If you want to make your rectangle precise, or you put a precision for that, REC, space, click ko yung first point. Then bago ka mag-second point, mag-type ka ng D. Nakikita niyo sa baba, area, dimension, rotation. So lagay mo is D, space. Specify the length of rectangle. Let's say I want it 5. Then, specify the width. Let's say 10. So medyo patayo yung ating rectangle. So, ayan. So, ito ay 5 by 4. 10. Okay? So that's how you draw a rectangle. So medyo madali lang siya. A spline is para ka lang nagdoodle. Wala siyang masyadong bearing sa ating drawing. Yan. Para ka lang nagdoodle. Click ka lang ng click randomly. Yan. Okay? Sorry, nawala. SPL. Kung nag-drawing ka ng spaghetti, ito yung tamang command for you. Okay, spline. Okay, next is yung text. So sa text is similar lang siya sa mga Microsoft Office na software para ka lang nagdo-drawing ng text box. So T ang shortcut command niya, then magdo-drawing ka muna ng text box, then lalabas na yung text box natin. Bawa, ano ba kayo? Industrial Engineering. Ngayon, paano mo babaguhin yung font? Tsaka yung font size. Pwede dito, baguhin mo, i-highlight mo muna yung text box or yung text. Then, let's say, gawin mo siyang 2. Then, gusto ko ibang letter siya. Banship. Banship. Or bonot. Makapal. Yan. Then, pwede kong baguhin yung kulay, trip ko, and then bold or underline, italize, and so on. So, yan. So, kung gusto mong i-edit, medyo may babaguhin ka pa sa text, double-click mo lang. Engineering. Kasi may gusto ko pang itagtag na text, and so on. Yan. Pag okay ka na, sa text, i-click mo lang siya sa labas ng text box. Then, mag-i-exit na siya. Okay? Then, the last one is yung construction line. So, construction line is an infinite line. Okay? So, XL ang kanyang shortcut command. After you type XL space, and then magtatanong siya horizontal, vertical. So, kung horizontal ka, H, horizontal infinite line yan. Yan. Diba? Haba. Kung vertical naman, XL space, B as in victory. Yan. Pwede ka na maglagay ng infinite horizontal line. But, warning ko sa inyo, buburahin nyo lagi yung construction line. Kasi yan ay nuisance. Kung na-serve niya na yung purpose, burahin nyo na siya kasi nakakalito yan sa drawing. Medyo ililigaw ka. Okay? Okay, so that's it for the drawing commands. Do you have any questions so far? Meron ba tayong question? Checks na.
Sir, I think po so far wala naman po.
Thank you. Okay, so We go on with God. Okay, so may mga question dito. So, sabi niya dito about dun sa plates, paano po yung walang mga laptop o computer. As much as possible, we want to utilize yung subject kasi. As per subject kasi, although tagal-tagal ko ng question to sa you must have a computer or laptop for you to pass the CAD. Pero taking into consideration about our situation na tayo ay online, then yung iba kasi ang ginagawa, nagsa-source out sila or nag-ship sila sa mobile CAD. But unfortunately, I cannot teach you mobile CAD because hindi siya ang nasa ating syllabus. So, computer talaga ang ginagamit natin. AutoCAD is for a desktop or laptop only. Kung wala kayo, then kayo ang mag-self-learn kung paano mag-mobile CAD or yun. Kung paano mo siya i-adapt na in such a way, you are close to how we perform in a laptop or a desktop or computer drawings. Okay, regarding sa question ng isang student, hindi ko makita yan eh. Ni Joaquin, autosave po ba ang CAD, sir? No, unfortunately hindi. So, save mo lagi siya. Especially na mataas ang RAM requirement ng CAD. Prone siya sa crash. So, crashing ng software or yung nagre-restart. So, prone siya doon. So, make sure na regular kayong nagsisave ng drawings nyo. Otherwise, kayo ay mag-uulit. Kasi nga mataas siya sa RAM. Sa memory. Mataas ang kanyang memory requirement. Okay, I hope I answer all your questions. Meron pa ba? Ilang gigabytes po ang RAM? I'm not particularly sure pero talagang prone siya sa crash. Especially kung kayo ay nagti-3D. Pero kung 2D lang, wala naman masyadong problema. Pag 3D lang tayo nagkakaproblema na nagka-crash siya. Okay? Any more question? Wala naman masyado kung advice. Kasi sa gagamitin yung laptop ha. Kasi kung kayo ay gagamit ng mga version na matataas na AutoCAD, huwag kayong gumamit ng laptop na hindi masyadong mataas yung specs. Kasi, yun nga, prone siya sa crash gawa ng mataas kumain ng RAM. Okay? Ang suggestion ko kung medyo mga lumang version ng laptop, you start at 2009. Okay na yan, 2009. Matagal ko din ginagamit yung version na yun. Wait lang ah. Sorry ah, merong Pwede po ba gumamit ng ibang application na bukod sa CAD? Hindi. Kung ikaw ay hindi po pwede. Ito kasi ang nasa syllabus natin. Kung ikaw ay gumagamit ng laptop, hindi po pwede ang ibang application at ito ang ating nasa syllabus na software na ginagamit. Okay? Okay, so sige, continue ko lang ha. Medyo malapit na mag-alas 4. So ito na lang naman yung topic natin. We have the function keys na ginagamit. So we have F1 to F10. So ito is additional features para mas mabilis tayo makapag-drawing. So we have F1, yung help. Pag pinindot mo yun, pwede ka dyan ask some questions sa Autodesk. Mga techniques, how to do some drawings. Or if you have any question like frequent crashing, gano'n, ano yung pwede mong gawin. F2 is the history. Lahat ng pinag-type mo na drawing, makikita mo dito sa F2. Yung F3 is object snap. So makikita niyo sa baba, dito siya. Ayan, yung object snap. So meron dyan endpoint, midpoint, center, geometric center, node, quadrant, intersection, extension, insertion, perpendicular, tangent, nearest. So ito lang ang kailangan nyong nakacheck. Yung endpoint, midpoint, center, node, intersection, extension, perpendicular, and tangent. Huwag na kayong maglagay ng, especially yung nearest, huwag nyo itong lalagyan ng check. Pag nalagyan nyo, i-uncheck nyo. Yun lang naman. Yung mga yan. Anong purpose niyan? For example, kapag naka-on ang F3 mo, makikita mo naman yan. Object snap, off, on. Kapag naka-on yan, makikita mo, pag ikaw ay nag-drawing, makikita mo yung mga endpoint, yung midpoint, yan, yung tangent, ayan, tangent yung symbol na yan. And then, makikita mo din yung circle, ito, circle, ay, center pala, sorry, center. And then, asan ba yung perpendicular? Ayan. Ito is intersection. Yan, intersection yan. Yan. Midpoint, yan. Center, and so on. Kasi kapag yan ay naka-off, kahit anong hanap mo dyan, for example, gusto mo makita yung endpoint nito, click ko yan, bawa, sure na ako. Pero pag zoom in ko yan, hindi niya talaga na-touch yung endpoint. Unlike kung naka-F3 ka, naka-on yung object snap mo, pag hinanap ko yung endpoint, pag zoom in ko yan, really nakadugtong siya sa endpoint. Okay? Gusto mong hanapin yung midpoint, halimbawa, nag-drawing ka ng line dito and midpoint to midpoint, kailangan naka-object snap ka para makita mo yung reference. So ito is pinakagamitin na function keys, yung F3. Yung F4, same as F3 pero pan 3D. So dahil wala pa tayo sa 3D, hindi muna natin siya gagamitin at i-discuss. Yung F5 pang isometric lang to, so hindi pa natin siya gagamitin. Yung F6 dynamic QCS, hindi na natin to gagamitin, as well as F7. Yung F7 kasi is grid. So pag pinindot ko yung F7, makikita nyo yung mga guhit-guhit sa screen na wala. Pag in-on ko, lalabas ulit siya. F7, mawawala. Okay? Then yung ortho, ito ay pang straight na mga line. So, halimbawa, mag-drawing ako ng line, pag naka-F8 ka, straight line lagi siya. Pero pag in-off ko yung F8, pwede kang mag-draw ng diagonal. Ayan. So, yun lang naman yung purpose ng F8. Then, yung F9 is naka-pattern siya sa grid. So, pag pinindot ko yung F9, naka-on siya, ang movement ng object is on the snap. Okay, and last is yung F10. F10 na polar on, ito yun. So, meron tayo dyan. Ibig sabihin, titigil siya ng 45, 30, 23, and so on. So, for example, tinry ko 45. Ibig sabihin, pwede ako mag-drawing ng object. Titigil siya every 45 degrees. Ayan, 45, 90, 135, 180, 225, 270, 315, and then 0. Okay? Kung gusto naman tumigil siya every 23 degrees, pwede naman. Yan, 23, 46, 45 siya. Sorry, ito pala kasi yan. 23, 45, 68, 90. So, titigil siya every 23, 45, 68, and 90, and so on. Okay? So, yung F11, F12, hindi na masyadong ginagamit. Okay, question. Ano po sa mga function keys na yan ang madalas gamitin? Siyempre, yung F3, importante yan. F8 also is important. Manakanakang F10 kapag meron ka mga drawing na gumagamit ng angle, ginagamit din natin yung F10. Pero usually, F3 and F8 lang ang mahalaga dyan. Okay? Question? Question? Meron ba tayong question sa CAD? Okay, if wala ng question, then may we please turn on our camera for our photo. If may question kayo, then ano na lang, rely kay Maricar. Hindi ko makita yung GC na sinasabi ni Maricar. So, ano na lang. Please turn on her cam. Ako din, magre-remove ng mask. Wala naman tao dito. Okay. Three screens tayo. So, 1, 2, 3. Let's go. First screen. Second screen. 1, 2, 3. And then third screen. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, everyone. See you sa May 13 na. Okay? See you sa May 13. Bye-bye.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you, sir.
God bless
Po,
you, sir.
sir.
Thank you po, sir.